young, inspiring artists out there, let's learn from one of the best, Steve Miller, on what he had to do in order to become the artist he is today. Let's listen.
Sup, Colorado? This is Clarence Lee with StandUpColorado.tv, and today I'm here at Red Rocks with Steve Miller. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well, man.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Good. I'm doing well. Thank you for taking the time to come out and interview with us, man. We're not going to take up a lot of your time. We know you're a busy guy. How many times have you been out to Red Rocks?
You know, we were trying to figure that out. We've been coming here since, I think, the late 70s, so it's been a lot of times, maybe 10.
Wow. So what's your favorite part about coming out there?
Well, my favorite part is the closeness of the audience, the stage, and the way the audience is tilted up above you a little bit, so it's 9,000 people and it still feels very intimate. And, you know, one of my favorite places to play, just like everybody. You know, but that's what I really like about it, is there's an immediacy to the audience response. It's loud and it's really fun. It's kind of like the playoffs. And the bell goes off and we walk out on the stage and we start playing. It's a great 2 hours for all of us. That's what we really like. And you know, we're like athletes or something. But the thing about us is we're musicians, and so you know, when you get to be 38 years old, they don't go, you know, boy, you were really great, now go fishing.
Right.
You know, and we get to keep growing and, you know, keep learning and keep working, and it's a great thing. It's the most important thing in my life.
Okay. Well, can you tell me, what would you say to any young artist that's actually trying to come up today and do what you do and have the type of longevity that you have in your career?
I'd say 3 things.
Okay.
Maybe 4. First thing I'd say is, like, you have to write your way to where you want to go. It's not about how you play, it's about how you write. So you have to be a writer. And if you're a writer, then you have to own your writing. You have to own your own copyrights. And if you own your own copyrights as a writer, then you should publish your own music. And if you publish your own music, you should read every contract that's brought to you. Those are the things that, as a musician, you have to control and you have to own, and you have to be serious about, and you have to read the stuff. You don't just sign it.
How did you get your big break?
I made it. I mimeographed a letter to every high school and college and sorority and fraternity and country club and school that had live music, and said I had a rock and roll band and I was booking it, and I had 3 weeks to book it.
Wow.
And I got it booked for the entire school year, every Friday and Saturday night. And that was my big break. That's how I started in business. And I was 12 years old in the 7th grade, and it was a cool band.
Wow.
You know, Boz Skaggs was in that band. He was in my class, and our drummer had been taking drum lessons since he was 5, so he was like a completely professional drummer. And it was 1956. There weren't any rock and roll bands.
Right.
And that's how I started, and I played for a long time that way, and then when I started writing was when I got out of that level, and you know, finally, you know, got some hit records, and then finally was played, you know, nationally and worldwide, and that's how you build a career. Is you write your way out of it. That's why I say you have to.
Gotcha. What do you think about the digital?
What's
going on with the whole music industry right now, with Napster and all that kind of stuff?
I have 2 feelings about it. You know, I had a huge stake in the old analog world, and my entire career was built before the digital age. Now, I love the technology. I love you know, cutting and pasting and making things, you know, with you know, in the digital domain. It's totally disrupted. You know, a huge part of producing music. And, you know, this is the way society moves forward. There was a time when the fastest way you could deliver a letter was by horse. And then you could deliver it by steam engine. And the guys that owned the steam engines had it going pretty good for a while, and then all of a sudden there was oil, and then there was a train, and then there was, you know, a car, and all of these things disrupted services, so I understand about that. And what happens when things get disrupted, like for me, the bad part about technology is that everyone steals your music. And Steve Jobs, who everybody loves, started off by going rip and burn, which he was basically saying, like, take anything you like, rip it, steal it, burn it, it's yours, do what you want to.
Copy it and then resell it.
So you had a whole generation of young kids kind of going, like, if I was 14 or 15 or 13 years old and I was going, let's see, do I want to spend $12 for a CD or do I want to just go, you know, of course that's what I would do. So that's what happened. And Napster started all of that. And now that we're in streaming, for example, my music is streamed 500 million times a year. The song The Joker is streamed 1.8 million times every 5 days.
Wow.
Right? I got paid $5,000 for all of that last year from the streaming. So that's what happens. Now, everybody kind of goes, oh, poor Steve Miller, he wrote all those hits, who cares what happens to you, you know. What that did, when people started stealing music like that, and when these technology companies got ahead of Congress and regulation and any way to audit or any way to pay, they just got there in that ozone where they just could make it any way they wanted to, and the way they have it is it's totally confused, nobody knows, can control anything, and the artists and creators are the people who are cut
Suffering
out,
worse,
which is really like a very foolish thing. Society does that all the time. So you end up in this situation where I used to spend, when I would make an album, it cost me $300,000 to make a record. And I'd go to a recording studio. I might go to LA, or I might go to Nashville, or I might go to New York, or I might go to Texas, and I'd stay in a hotel, and I'd bring 11 or 12 people with me, and we'd stay there for a month. Then we'd rent this studio, and we'd have engineers, and we'd have assistants and technicians and stuff. Well, I can't spend $300,000 to make a record now. I've got to make it on this.
Right, you got to go digital with it now.
And that, I don't want a technician running it, because
you got to pay the extra for the.
it just costs me. So, all right, that's the first. Then the second thing is all the great recording studios in the United States and in the world. They're about 10% of them are left, and the rest of them are condominiums now. Those rooms were developed over like 100 years. They were tuned and fixed and redesigned, and beautiful rooms and great places to create music. Most of those are gone. There used to be hundreds of great engineers. You can't make a living as an engineer now. There used to be a lot of technicians who were learning to become great engineers. There aren't any great technicians now. The only places that can afford to do it are, well, maybe Skywalker Ranch or something where they're making films and where it's just like a lost leader. They have their own studio for their ease of work. So all of that creative world that took so long to develop and tune and refine and get to this really great state was completely pushed off the table by digital technology. And so your kid's probably walking around with a pair of 25-cent little metal earbuds in his ear, jammed up to 11, listening to something that's slamming and compressed, going blam, boom, blam, And there, as in all things in life, there's a cost for everything. So the guys who are on top right now, who own the streaming companies and selling your kids all this junk, their day is coming too. So it's a time of transition like I don't think we've seen a time of transition like this since 1483, when the printing press was, put to work in the Western world. It was earlier in China, but and then all the guys that owned all the content lost control of it.
Right.
People got it. So that's the positive side of technology, is you can make an album on a thing like this. You can't make a very good one, but you can.
You can still do it, yeah.
And more people are playing music and having fun with that. And when I was a kid in high school, I had 30 albums, and I was like the boss. And I knew every song on all 30 of those albums, and when I was in college, I had 50 albums by the turntable. And now, every 10-year-old kid's got 6,000 songs on a cell phone.
Right.
So something good will come from that. having the world's music in your pocket, it will do something to our brains. I just don't know how it's all going to play out, and probably won't live long enough to see it get straightened out for artists, to protect artists. But we need to protect our rights,
Right.
and creative rights need to be protected. Right now we're in a time when there's not much music education in schools, and it's all being done with a cell phone.
It is. It's a shame, I think.
And
the connection
we
is
pay
not there
for all
anymore.
of that. You know, there are costs for everything, and there are benefits. So it's a real dramatic time for a lot of guys. For me, I'm lucky. I've had a great audience. I've been touring for 50 years. We're sold out tonight. We love our fans in Colorado. We come here every couple of years and play Red Rocks, and 9,000 people come to see us play. And we've worked long and hard for that. And that's the only thing the digital world couldn't steal.
Okay, well, Steve, thank you very much for stopping by to Stand Up
Hey,
Colorado.
good luck with the show.
Thank you. Can I get you to look in the camera and say you're watching Stand Up Colorado?
Just like he said.